It's been a weird couple weeks for me. I have frogged way more than I normally have to. I can be a bit of a perfectionist, so I guess it kind of makes sense. Hi, it's Kelsey here at Makings of a Maximalist, and I just wanted to share a little bit of my spring bucket list as far as knitting goes. Today I am wearing that finished Olga that I showed you last time. I knit it out of Drops Charisma, and I've worn it a number of times already, maybe 4. And as you can see, it is pilling quite happily. Hoping it's an initial pill situation that then I can kind of shave off and it's done its thing and won't do it again. We'll see. I was really, really pleased with it. I like the way it looks. I think that the neckline looks really smart, really crisp. I liked the technique for doing that. And it was my first time doing a drop shoulder. While I think overall I made it a little larger than I needed, I still like it. I'm wearing it a bunch. And I just like learning new techniques. I think it's a really fun part of knitting. It keeps my brain engaged. I like learning in general. So, really, really fun knit. Everyone says that stripes are addicting, and it is totally, totally true. It's really neat to sit down and be like, oh, I got 2 done, I got 3 done in just no time at all. So yeah, that's that. I'm wearing these really pretty, I think you can see them, these Larissa Loden earrings. Larissa Loden is a local jewelry maker and jewelry designer that I have been following since No Coast Craftorama, maybe before I even met my husband. I got my first piece from there, and my husband got me these for Valentine's Day a year or 2 ago, and I really, really love these earrings. So yeah, spring knitting bucket list. I've got a bunch of things on my list. As I said, I learned to knit ages ago, but then with a long gap after I first really learned techniques until I started knitting again this last year, when I was trying to really start to reduce my phone time. Got a lot of things that I'm interested in, that I'd like to do, that I'd like to learn, and I thought I'd show it to you so you can follow along. I've got my notes over here. The first thing I want to get done is I want to finish this test knit that I'm doing for Cat and Lenny, the Sami sweater and triangle scarf that goes over it. It took a little while to get the yarn because it was from Norway and tariffs and all sorts of things. And you know what? I had a pretty nice start on it. And yesterday I ripped out, no, the day before yesterday, I think, I ripped out 150 grams of yarn. So 3 of the 50-gram balls, and redid a little bit. My tension just, it looked poor. It it looked like I was rowing out, even though I'm knitting in the round. It looked a little wonky, and I was trying to pick up and knit like a row here, half a row there, a row or 2, while also trying to read a book for school. And that was not my best idea. So I would like to hurry up and get this done because it's due at the end of the month. But I think it is looking so nice. The wonky looking bits are some areas where I have to weave in ends, but nice folded neckline, really squishy. I love a good neckline. Um, and then shoulders coming through here, and I'm just going down and growing that sleeve and body a bit right now. So I'm really excited about this. I think it's really pretty. I like the color. My color seasons, I am definitely in autumn. And so I think that this will look really cute with the scarf and the little chocolate brown fingering lace detail around the edges. It kind of like Girl Scout, Boy Scout vibes, which are vibes that I like. So we'll see how that goes, but I plan to really primarily focus on this, ripping out three skeins of yarn, balls of yarn, was not ideal. I figure maybe 5 hours of work, something like that. But I am going to work on this a lot in this next week. Hopefully get the body done and then be able to do sleeves in a couple days and the scarf. So I will get that done as soon as I can. So that is first on my spring knitting bucket list. It doesn't really scream spring because it is that salted caramel pop merino by Hip Knit Shop. Which, yeah, is definitely fall, which is why it looks nice on me. So I want to get that done because it is my first ever test knit. And when I was looking at and planning this year of making, on my broader list of things I really wanted to do, I had a test knit in there. I just wanted to try and test knit. Um, I read directions very literally. My brain does not take words on a page or letters, shorthand on a page, and turn it into 3D at all. I am reading these patterns completely blind, which makes me feel a little silly because I would not be able to write my own patterns. It makes me feel a little silly, a little dumb, but it does make me an excellent test knitter because if it says do this, I am going to do it. Just like if Google Maps were to tell me turn left off this bridge, like I would maybe do that. Reminds me of an Office episode where they turn right into a lake. That's kind of my level of directional ability, and that directional ability translates directly into this like dimensional ability. I really don't have it at all. So I'm a good fit for test knitting because I cannot think past the instructions. I just follow them blindly and see what happens. So that is number one on my spring knitting bucket list, is to finish that test knit, get it all blocked, get some nice pictures taken. Number two is I would like to learn a new technique. Like I said, I like to learn. I like to try new things. Uh, I always have, always will. I think novelty is fun and exciting. So the new technique that I'm going to learn this spring is mosaic knitting. I have almost all the yarn I need to make an artist shawl, but I am not ready to start that yet. I will pop a picture in here. That's an intense one. Knit Cheek just finished one and it looks beautiful. I saw a sample of it in a local yarn shop, local yarn shop called The Yarnery, and it was so gorgeous in person. I just knew I had to get some yarn to make that. But before I embark on a really ginormous shawl, I'm going to do something smaller, and I'm going to do the Pressed Flowers kerchief by Amy Christoffers. Um, I've seen a lot of people do it. I am so into the little triangle scarves, the bandana scarves, the bandanas tied around the neck. I've long loved a scarf. I collect vintage Vera scarves. Um, I like I said last time, like not everybody wears the shawls that they make. I wear the shawls that I make. I love them. I think they're a cute extra layer. I think that they are practical for different temperatures. I just love them. So making this pressed flowers kerchief is right up my alley. And I have some yarn that I'm going to use for it. It is Drops Nepal. Oh, here we go. One of these is upside down. It is Drops Nepal in this kind of like pea green color and an off white. The colors are, 7238 and 0100. It's slightly larger. The pattern calls for a DK, and this is a little bit above that, but I did see some people making it successfully in Ravelry. So I thought that I would give it a shot because it is yarn that I already have that is not necessarily attached to a project. I bought it to try and match a color of Barocco Ultra Alpaca that I really, really, truly love. And while close, it wasn't exact. Here, this is the Ultra Alpaca all caked up. You can see. I mean, oh man, in this light, it is going to look really, really, really close. Ultra Alpaca drops Nepal. Ultra Alpaca drops Nepal. So it is color I love, matches my eyeballs. Should I like zoom in on that? Um, I just really, really love it. I'm going to make a handy cardigan out of that pea soup Ultra Alpaca for fall. Already excited to wear it. So yes, so I am going to learn a new technique. It is going to be mosaic knitting, and I will do that cute little pressed flowers kerchief because I am all about the scarves. Some other things that I want to do is finish a couple triangle scarves or little tie-on scarves that I've already got started. Um, Neither of which I have gotten any substantial work done on because of my knitting and frogging projects a couple times. It's been a weird couple weeks for me. I have frogged way more than I normally have to. I can be a bit of a perfectionist, so I guess it kind of makes sense. But um, here is my little start of the poet scarf after I uh, did a page and a half of the chart, realized it was wrong, frogged it, did another page of the chart, realized it was wrong again, frogged it, and finally looked up to see what I was doing, and I was just reading the chart wrong. So here is my little bitty baby amount of this poet scarf. I love the color. This is in the Barocco Renew yarn, which I got for a steal of a deal on, I believe, Knit Picks a while back. It's a discontinued yarn, and I love it. So I'm excited to make that. I now that I am reading the lace charts the proper way, it is really fun. So once I get these other things once I get the test knit wrapped, then I'll be able to do some of these other things that I am excited about wearing a little sooner than a full sweater. But I also am working on this little stockinette bandana, and this is what I'm just chucking in my bag when I'm at hockey or somewhere where I'm just sitting for a few minutes and have a chance to work on something. So this is the stockinette bandana pattern by Brook Willow. I'm knitting it up in a fingering weight yarn. I've got 100 grams of it, and I'm using a 3mm needle. So very easy. Rowing out a little bit in there. Honestly, I changed the way I purl this year, which makes me much, much faster of a knitter. But I've got to work a little bit on my tensioning. When I purl, Arnie and Carlos say you don't need to tension, but they have not met me. So I will keep trying, and I'm sure I'll get it eventually. So everything takes time to learn. But yeah, I'm really into these little triangle scarves. I think they're so cute, so stylish, so easy to put on with an outfit and have it look totally different. So I want to make a few of those. I'll have the pressed flowers one. I'll have that poet scarf, the stockinette bandana, and I have some red Wool of the Andes worsted left. With my lighting, I'm not sure if it looks totally red, but this is like a red classic red. Got to figure out some camera-y stuff here so I can make sure you're seeing colors properly. But this is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted weight, which it feels a little scant, a little shy of worsted to me. I would say it reads a little more closely to, I guess, a DK weight probably, but I've got enough of that left over from making melt ice hats. I think I bought like 40 balls of it after I had run through a stash of drops, big merino that I had. I made a lot of melty ice hats. I live a block outside of Minneapolis, so it's been a tricky end of winter. And let me tell you, we are all excited for spring. So I would like to use some of that yarn to make just a very generic red kerchief to be able to wear spring, summer. Red's a color that I like to wear a lot of. So once I finish those, I'll probably do a video with a wrap up of everything with just all these different options for scarf, shawl, bandana, patterns, because I know when I started knitting, and even now, it can be really difficult for me to look and find the right pattern for what I want with the yarn that I have, or the weight of yarn that I have, or to distinguish, what size needles would you use if you want to make this in a different, gauge of in a different gauge. So I might do a wrap up to a bunch of different little triangle scarf or kerchief patterns, and show just some samples of things that I have knit up. I've got a couple other ones that I've knit in the past that I could include that I really love. So I will finish those up and wear them all summer. If you have a favorite triangle scarf or a small shawl, a kerchief, a bandana pattern, please share it with me. I am just so into them. They're such fast, quick knits, fun to make and gift for people. And I would love to hear which ones you like. The next things for my little spring bucket list are some summery knits. I am really excited to start a Toasta tee by Rebecca Clow. Clow. I'm going to guess Clow. I've heard nothing but good things about her patterns, how size inclusive they are, how customizable they are, just that just that the patterns themselves are kind of like a work of art with the way that she structures and um, walks you through the pattern. So I've got this one. I am knitting up in more of that Barocco Renew that I got. Hard to see the colors here. These are different colors, which maybe back here is our best bet at seeing them. So it's like a tealy color, or a bluish color, like a deep teal, and a greener teal. I love teal. I love turquoise, and these happened to be in this great sale in Knit Picks, in quantities that I could make a Toasta tee out of. So I am going to probably swatch for that this weekend. I'll have some time in the car, and so I thought that would be an appropriate use for that time. But I'm excited to make it. I think I'm going to do a fairly simple striped version. I'd like to do stripes just a tad thicker than the Olga stripes. Not too wide, but not small either. Kind of minimize my yarn changes and the amount that I'm carrying while still getting something that I think will look really pretty. And those colors are colors that I will wear all year through. This is a top that I'd like to be able to wear in the winter with a sweater over it, because they're just colors that I love. This yarn I think is really interesting. It's made out of recycled fibers. So it is 35% viscose, 30% wool, 30% nylon, and 5% cashmere. Uh, it is quite soft and feels and looks nice. So I'm excited to try it out in a full garment as opposed to just that little poet scarf. So that will be my Toasta tee. And then the next thing that I am excited about doing is I got this cotton, mostly cotton and silk blend. It's cotton, 41% cotton, 39% modal, 12% silk, 8% rayon, also a discontinued LRA Silkiance yarn. And I got a bunch of this in a really great Facebook Marketplace haul. And I would like to make the Winnie top. It is a beautiful, beautiful top made with this DK weight yarn. I like the deeper V neckline with kind of like the lacy look around it. And I'm just excited to try this yarn. I might have been swayed mostly by the sample photo. See, the brown's fairly similar. But I just think it's going to be really cute. And it's not something that I've ever knit before. It definitely doesn't look as sweatery as everything else that I have made. So I'm excited to make that. If there is still time to be had in the spring and I get some of these other things done, I would love to make a Brick Lane sweater. I think it is so cute. Color work is still fairly new to me. You may have seen my like quasi disaster of an autumn bloom hat that I still really love, but I cannot bring myself to fixing it size wise. I still haven't attached the pom pom. So it might be like the final nail in the coffin to see it be like, yeah, this is not going to fix it, Kelsey. Like, just move on. We'll see. But this Brick Lane sweater I think is so pretty. I like the colors that it's done up in, and I think I could do it in something fairly similar. Actually, they're colors that I do like, and it's made with a DK weight, or just kidding, it's made with a sport weight yarn, and I'm interested to do more color work. So I think that that would be very fun to knit up and get some use out of. Honestly, if I don't get it done in the spring, I'll probably just move it to my summer plans. It's part of my make 9 for the year. I just think it is so cute and I would love to have it and love to be able to wear it. So we'll see if I get it done this spring. If I don't, I'll just move it over to summer. So that is what I'm hoping to do for like summer knits that I would be making this spring to get ready. The next thing on my bucket list for spring knitting, man, I have told you about a lot of fails today, and the hits keep coming. So I might have mentioned this in a previous episode, previous video, but in January, when everything was really ramping up here in Minneapolis, I started knitting a lot more aggressively, and I decided to take some yarn that I got from our local Buy Nothing group and make my first ever socks. I got the Ooey Gooey pattern by Andrea Mowry. I really like the pattern, really love the look. And I began knitting, and I knit a sock that would easily fit a giant. So my feet are like a women's 10. Not too shabby. They're pretty big. My husband wears a men's 12. These socks these socks are big on him. So I guess technically this is more or less the first color work I ever did because I finished it before I finished the alpine hat, but I did not make the other one. I got a good start, and actually I was getting a really good fit, but I started in the same color exactly as this one, and I was not going to have enough yarn to finish. So I frogged that and have to start again with the brighter highlighter color here and then doing the green for the main body. I haven't blocked this. It looks pretty scrappy, but I don't I don't know if I'm going to pull this one out or just leave it as a good reminder that good things take time, good things take practice, and when you're kind of when you're living in the world, and living in the world can be hard, it's good to do something. So I'll just talk about what I was making instead of the other things that I was doing on the internet. But when I would get home at night, I would then direct my Rage might not be the right word, but frustration, definitely. Um, Frustration and disappointment into these socks. And yeah, they are large and in I guess, only one of them. It's large and in charge. But I learned a lot. I learned how to magic loop and just a whole handful of things on this practice. And maybe I'll rip it out when I make the other one. Maybe I won't. But that's definitely not going to be worn unless I'm sleeping, I guess. So I would like to finish the other one because then I can at least say that I have made a full pair of socks, which I actually liked the process, and think think I would enjoy knitting socks once I get my basic stitch count figured out and length. Um, I have some cute sock yarn that I got in Facebook Marketplace haul and from our local Buy Nothing group, and I'd love to knit it up. And I'm not sure which direction to take with that. If I should read this Ooey Gooey pattern and just omit the color work, if I should get the Summerly sock project book that is super popular. It looks really cute, and I've seen a lot of people knitting her socks and saying that she has really developed a nice step by step progression through techniques. And that's the kind of thing that I really enjoy. So that might be on the horizon. Not this spring. I'm guessing that would become like a fall thing when it starts to get cool out again. Because here in Minneapolis, it is starting to warm up and we are all just super excited about it. Um, Another thing on my spring knitting or spring bucket list is to go to my first ever yarn crawl this weekend. When you are maybe seeing this, it is the Minnesota Yarn Shop Hop, and 13 different stores are participating this year. And a friend and I told their husbands, we are gone on Saturday. So on Saturday, she and I are going to meet up, and I am bringing 2 lattes that I'll make at home. She is bringing snacks, and we are going to hit the road and see how many of these stores we can hit up together. So it will be nice to be in a yarn store without our little kids with us, because wow, are there great things to look at in yarn stores. And it will be nice to see what I want to see instead of what my uh, son, who just turned 5, is really interested in, because he likes that pirate sheep yarn spin cycle. He really likes that pirate sheep yarn, and he wants me to buy that pirate sheep yarn, but that isn't anything that I need right now. So yeah, I'm super, super excited to go to the yarn shop hop and just to see what all the different shops have. One of the local shops posted today their special dyed yarn that they made for the event, and it is beautiful. And I am hoping to get my hands on, I think maybe 2 skeins is what I would need for a specific project I have in mind. And I am pretty excited about it. But just to be able to see a bunch of shops that I haven't seen before, see a bunch of people who all get excited about the same things. I am an extrovert. That sounds like a dream to me. So hopefully next week you will get to see a little bit of a review of where I went, what it was like, and what I found. Since it is a bucket list, I put some big ones on there. I would like to practice knitting without looking. I see people all the time in their videos just knit, 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 like going in the round, going around and around and around, and it works. I have not figured that out yet. So I would like to practice. I figure I'll cast on some scrap yarn or some leftover yarn. I'm pointing here because this is kind of like my craft zone. My sewing machine, thread, yarn, yarn, fabric, hot glue gun, beads, wire, glitter. I used to teach preschool, and I feel like people kind of end up in one of two camps. One being, ew, now I don't want it in my carpet all year round in my classroom, and two, like, more glitter the better. And definitely, I'm definitely in the more glitter the better camp. So, uh, glitter, paints, all sorts of stuff back here. But I'll grab some spare yarn that doesn't really have a purpose and maybe cast on and try and just knit like a dolly blanket or something for my son while watching TV. So practicing just regular knitting while not looking, I think would be kind of a fun thing to do. And lastly, oh, I mentioned that the weather is warming up here, and don't get me wrong, Minnesota is beautiful in the winter. I I don't know if anything beats taking a walk on an early morning where there's just been a lot of snow, or late in the evening on the night before snow. The night before snow is extra glowy. It's like everything is glowing, and it's just beautiful. Or a morning with fresh snow, just being able to go out and walk is wonderful. But you don't really sit around very often in the winter because you've got to keep your body moving to be warm enough. But now that it's warming up, I would love to just sit and knit outside. Sit and knit in the backyard while my son plays on the play set or digs in the sandbox. Or I don't get a ton of time just to myself, which is why I'm filming with lights quite late at night here in our basement. But maybe sitting and knitting with a skim ginger latte, probably one of my favorite drinks in the world. I love ginger lattes. My husband and I make our own just ginger simple syrup to use. And it's just, they are amazing. If you have not had a ginger latte, you are missing out. Make yourself some ginger simple syrup and try it. You will love it. So the idea of getting like a skim ginger latte, making one, going somewhere to knit would be beautiful. There's a garden that I love called the Peace Garden in Minneapolis, where it's just quite pretty. There's a little low bridge and lots of evergreens, uh, found fountainy water feature, and just a lot of open area. And it's a place that I've gone to for years with uh, family, with friends, hosted picnics there, and spent a lot of time there. And to go there in the spring would be pretty ideal. So I would love to hear what you are planning to do in your knitting this spring. If you've got a place you want to go, or a class that you're taking, or a goal you have in mind, or a pattern that you are excited to knit up, I would love to hear it. I like people. I'm extroverted. I love to chit chat. So leave a comment down below, and I'd love to see what you're doing and get back to you. So hopefully you will see me next weekend with a little review of the yarn crawl. And until then, bye.